and today in this video we'll learn about learning as behavioral development. So, till now we studied about imprinting and kin discrimination, and both are a type of a behavioral development which arises due to social learning. In this video, we'll understand about this learning and behavioral development by taking the example of a black-capped chickadee. Now, what is the distinguished feature of this bird is these birds, they recognize hundreds of seeds and insects that it has hidden in bark crevices. That means they store foods, but wherever they store the foods, they will remember for a longer time. Now, the scientist called David Sherry, what he did is he held captive a chickadee and then he allowed to store food in holes derived in a small tree placed in an aviary. So what he did, first he captured one chickadee, not exactly one, here we are representing with one. He captured chickadees and then what he did is he allowed them to store food in the holes of a tree placed in an aviary. How many holes were there in the trees? 72 holes. Now, chickadee placed these seeds in some 4 to 5 holes. So suppose the chickadee chose this hole, this hole, this hole, and say for example this hole. These 4 holes the chickadee chose to store its food. Now what he did is he again held captive the chickadee for 24 hours. Now in the meantime what he did is he removed the seeds from the holes and he covered all the holes, all the 72 holes. Then he again released the chickadee. Now, after 24 hours, when all the seeds are removed and the holes are covered, still he observed that this chickadee, what the chickadee did is, the chickadee spent more times near the holes where it stored the food. These were the 4 holes where the chickadee stored the foods. So the chickadee spent more times near those holes only where it stored the food. So now the question is, in this situation, no visual clues are present because he covered whole tree. But still, the chickadee remembered that exactly around which position it stored the food, and hence it spent more time near that holes only. So the observation is the birds spent more time around the holes where they placed the seeds. So what could be the interpretation now? The interpretation is the birds now has to rely on memory because the visual clues are all covered. No visual clues are available for chickadee to search. So now the chickadee has to rely only on its memory. So that means the ability to store spatial information depends on brain mechanism to change biochemically and structurally to certain kind of sensory stimuli. Now, as because the chickadee stored the food using the visual clues, that means that kind of information is known as spatial information, and there sensory stimuli is involved, the visual, that is the sensory stimuli is involved, and because of this some brain mechanism has changed biochemically and structurally, and hence next time it is easy for the chickadee to remember or to get to the appropriate holes. Now, what happened inside the brain is the brain consists of a segment which is known as hippocampus. Now, this particular segment is very important in memory storage. And it was observed that this hippocampus is larger and neuron rich in the species, those who store food in nature. So now, Nikki Clayton and John Krebs, they worked on marsh tits. Marsh tits is also a kind of food storing bird. So he divided these birds into 2 sets. For the one set, he gave opportunity to store whole sunflower seeds. But to the second set, he fed always the powdered sunflower seeds. So that means for the second set, there is no option to store the seed because they are getting the powdered seed. But for the first, they have the opportunity to store the seeds. Now, what is the observation? It was observed that for this set 1, the hippocampus was found to be larger in size. So it proved that the brain mechanism changes according to the behavior, according to the need, according to the social learning. Now, one question from my end for you all. Can you give any example of social learning in case of humans? Do let me know in the comment section. If you found the video informative, please do like, share and subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon for the next video notification. Till then, stay safe, stay happy.